Jags fans, we are here ready to go ahead of the final week of the season. I'm pretty pumped. We have the film loaded up, ready to go. Not much film, honestly. Just a couple games I wanted to pull from the last time Derrick Henry played, which was 2 weeks ago. We're going to show all that. We're going to look at some of the snap counts that the Titans used a couple weeks ago just to kind of get an idea of what the Titans are going to try to do to us. And then ultimately, what the Jags will have to do to win in Week 18, which, spoiler alert, I think that they will. This is your first time with us. We're a live show for fans. And so get into the comments and make sure that you are giving your opinion on what you think will happen on Week 18. You know, there's a lot riding on this game. Obviously, the playoffs are huge. Everything going on inside the stadium. It's going to be packed house. Winner moves on if you didn't know. So it's going to be excited. I hope you're going to be there. I'm going to be there. So if you see me, say what's up and let's have a good time Saturday night. Before we get into the film and the comments and all that stuff, always got to plug the social media, all that stuff. So we're on Twitter, Instagram. Make sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel. We're on Twitch, all of that stuff. So make sure to do that so that we can be in contact about the Jags all the time. I mean, we talk Jags all the time, all day, every day. But we only do shows Tuesdays and Fridays typically. But these last couple weeks, we've been a little spicy with the live shows because of the success of the Jags. And you can't blame me. So fan show, like I said, we're going to get to the comments here first. Nolly Fullcap comes in the comments just swinging. I mean, he usually does. Channel member, and then he subscribes for 15 months in a row. Nolly, thank you. I appreciate it. He's on the Matt Jones level, and he says, Duval, baby, LFG. So let's go. I get it. Sea Breacher, also a channel member, says, let's go. Oh, also, I forgot to mention, we're a podcast now. I'm a podcaster now. So check out Spotify, Jaguars United. These episodes just go up as a podcast. So if you don't have time to watch the whole episode and you want to listen to it in your vehicle or something like that, Spotify, Apple, Jaguars United, all the shows go up there. You won't get to see the film breakdowns listening to the podcast, but you will get to see listen to all the comments and things like that. William says, we out ya. Rico says, let's go. Captain Full Po Fishing says, can't wait. I can't wait either. DJM in the comments says, Jason's son, and hashtag IWATG. Beanie Baby, one of my favorite comments so far, says, let's go, Jags. I'm on my way up from Miami tomorrow morning. All tealed out at 9:04 p.m. The whole stadium should yell, Duval, go Jags. I have a feeling, Beanie, and I'm glad that you're driving up, and I know that drive from Miami it can be a bear sometimes. I took a cruise out of Miami one time, and I drove down there, and it was longer than I thought it was going to be. I have a feeling like every few minutes you're going to hear Duval chants, not just 9:04. And here's the thing: is like the Titans typically don't travel well as a fan base. You know, these newer franchises typically don't, and the Jags fans are stoked about this game. So this is going to be all teal. Hopefully everyone makes it in. I mean, the night game, the Jags haven't had a night game in a while, so some fans may be a little not used to tailgating all day. Hopefully you make it into the stadium with no issues. King David in the comments says Duval. We got Captain saying safe travels. Robert Lamison says let's go Duval. I like it. Sharney channel member says woo, film time. Yeah, we're almost there. Shay says the hottest ticket in the NFL. Shay also a channel member. The hottest ticket in the NFL this weekend. The bank will be electric. I'm so glad it's on Saturday. I didn't get the rest thing, but man, I have to work on Monday, so I'm glad it's a Saturday night game because then we can party the right way. Sharney says, hit like 2, my boys. Yeah, seriously, hit the like button. You guys have been doing really, the last couple of videos you guys have been doing really good on the likes and the thumbs up and the views. And you're obviously telling your friends because the views have been going through the roof on not just the podcast and the videos, but the Twitter, Instagram, all that stuff. I'm going to be all over Instagram on Saturday. So that's why you want to be subscribed, because on game day, I get a couple of Diet Cokes in me, and then next thing you know, I'm posting like every 5 seconds on Instagram for stories. So make sure you're subscribed to the Instagram. It comes in kind of handy on game day. Patrick Hamilton says, is the bank sold out? Well, I saw that they're only selling standing room only tickets now, so I don't know how many standing room only tickets they sell, but I imagine they're getting close to a sellout. The tickets are cheaper for the playoff game than they are for the Jags. This game for the Jags, the night game. Now, hearing some rumblings about potentially the NFL reseeding the playoffs and going to neutral sites, so that playoff ticket is actually more up in the air now than it was in the past. We have a lot of comments right now, which I love because this is a fan show. If it's a really good comment, hit it again because I got to get to the film here in a second. A lot of people watch the video just for the film. So I'm going to get to a couple of comments here real quick. And then if it's a good one, just type it again. No shame here. Channel member Sharney says, love bringing back our teal end zones. Though if we lose those, they're officially cursed. I'm very superstitious, so I'm right there with you. Rico says, how do you become a channel member? I'll be up front with you, Rico. You have to pay like $3. And you pay $3, you get it for a month. And all you get is your name, a different color, an emoji. But on shows like this one that are really popular, I typically only read the channel members' comments because that's all I have time for. Again, I only have time for when it's popping like this. So I'll be up front with you. I'm glad you're here. Whether you want to be a channel member or not, up to you. Just glad you're here, Rico. Sharney says, okay, he's going to give you a walkthrough there. Nolly Full Cab says, always the Jags, y'all. Sea Breacher says, what do you think the ratio of Jags fans is 90-10? And that's being nice. The ratio to Jags to Titans fans. Volkfang, rock the bank this Saturday for me, Duval. And listen, we deserve the 90-10, and we're going to rock the bank because the Cowboys and the Giants, those games were like 60-40 in favor of the other team, and probably more than that. Sea Breacher says Diet Coke is disgusting. It's an acquired taste, Sea Breacher. When I was young, I thought the same thing. Coke Zero is better. I have hankerings for Coke like once in a blue moon, and I go Diet Coke. Enough about that. All right, let's get to the film. So, obviously, the number one thing we have to worry about is Derrick Henry, right? So, this is the PFF offensive grades from the last time that Derrick Henry played. This was 2 weeks ago against Houston. They lost, and we beat Houston. And look at Derrick Henry. I mean, he had a pretty good stat line and grade, a 90.2 offensive grade here, 89.7 running grade. He had really good stats. He had 23 carries, 126 yards, a touchdown, and 5.5 yards per carry. But again, just like the Jags game, a lot of those carries, a lot of those yards came in like the beginning of the game, similar to the Jags. And then after that, he cooled off. So although he had 23 carries, 126 yards, and a touchdown, that should tell you that Derrick Henry could essentially still have a good game. And the Titans only scored 14 points against the Texans. And look how many points we scored against the Texans. Now, I know Malik Willis was playing quarterback in this game versus Josh Dobbs playing now, but it just goes to show you that we should have no issue even allowing Derrick Henry to get his and still holding the Titans to not a lot of points. Your boy and my boy Jeff Swaim, former Jaguar great, the second highest grade. Corey Levin actually played a better game than I've been expecting and a better game than he's played. This was kind of an outlier game for him, and a 70.8 grade is obviously the run blocking grade. It was successful. They ran a lot of their big plays. I'm about to show them here in a second, in the A gap next to the center. So he got a pretty high pass blocking and run blocking grade. Former Michigan running back Hassan Haskins, 15 carries. Austin Hooper, who's the second best tight end on this team, and Jeff Swaim's not even the first. I think my boy Akwankwu down here at the bottom. We're not going to spend a lot of time on here. Treylon Burks, glad he's back health-wise because he took a pretty nasty hit against the Eagles that knocked him out of the game knocked him out of the team for a couple weeks. Glad he's back like health-wise, but not their best offensive player besides Derrick Henry for sure. Malik Willis not starting. Maybe he'll get in if Dobbs can't move the ball. LaRaven Clark, he's going to be he's probably not going to start this game. I think they're getting Pettit Frere back this game. Robert Woods. So your boy Chris Conley. Offense doesn't quite scare me. The only thing they're going to do, and again, we're honest here. I'm going to show you. We have the film here. So this is against the Texans, right? This is what they're going to do, right? It's no secret. They want to get Derrick Henry going. It's smart that they're going to, obviously you have Malik Willis and shotgun, right? This is 10 gun personnel, right? 1 running back, 0 tight ends. So we got 10 gun and we're in shotgun. So 10 gun, shotgun is typically passing downs for most NFL teams. But when you have the Titans, you have to be worried about the run, okay? So I'll play it through here and we'll play it back. 48-yard touchdown run from Derrick Henry. Biggest play of the game. and I think this was on the first or second. This was on the second drive of the game. So again, Derrick Henry, he went off against us in the first quarter. Just a big run here. I'll let you look at it again. The blocking here, pretty good play call here by the Titans here. So what you're going to see here is, look, in 10 gun, it's a little risky to pull 2 players, because if you have an aggressive blitz coming from this backside, you're kind of in trouble. But they didn't get that, and you're going to see 2 pulling, the guard pulls and the tackle pulls here. Actually, they don't go that far. They go up in here. These 2 guys push out, and now you have numbers, right? So if you can get to this side of the field, right? You get to that side of the field, you're basically playing 5-on-4, right? If he doesn't react in time and he can take on this block. So good play design. The Jags fly to the ball, I think, a little bit better than the Texans do. I did mention that the Texans' defense, the cover 2, does tend to give up more runs because of the way they play. But this is actually like a cover 1 man, I believe. So this is what the Jags typically play. He's just a good back, man. You got to tackle. And he's a good back. So he's going to get his. That's just poor tackling right there. That's just poor tackling all the way around. Okay, so that's 48 yards there, right? A couple drives later, he hits this 13-yard gain right here. Now here you're going to see a more traditional formation from the offense. And again, Henry's able to get yards when he gets the ball. Again, 5.5 yards per carry. So here we're in 12 ace personnel, right? 12, 1 running back, 2 tight ends. He's under center, so we'll call it 12 ace, right? This is the generic term for this. And you're going to see, Derek, just a cross block here by the tight end, Okwankwo, and just going to hit it up here for 13 yards. And you're going to see where he makes his money is he probably should have been tackled 5 yards down, 6 yards down there, but missed tackle and then takes the guys down the field. So, again, not great tackling, but I've seen the Jags miss tackles. So, obviously, the number one key is going to be you have to stop Derrick Henry. I don't know if I had some other plays here. This play was from the Jags game. Like, hopefully something like this happens. They tried to do a direct snap, and Derrick Henry just, wasn't ready, or it was a bad snap, whatever you want to call it. I bet you the center's PFF grade wasn't good. That play. Jags ended up getting the ball, if you remember. Little miscues like that. And there's going to be miscues in this game. The Titans have shown over and over again that they have miscues and they will make mistakes like holding, pass interference, fumbles, interceptions, things like that. Again, there's a lot of comments, so I apologize if I missed them. I try to get as many as I can. If it's a good one, just type it again. Cameron Boisvert says they're talking about letting 8 AFC teams in the playoffs. I did see that. I'll be interested to see what the owners, supposedly there's an owners meeting tomorrow. We'll be interested to see what they come up with. I'm seeing stuff all over Twitter. So I'm just kind of laying off right now because we're going to get it all wrapped up in misinformation or just whatever. So I'll just wait. Sharney42 says, hate that the Titans drafted Burks because I'm a Hogs fan. I want to see pro Hogs do well. But God, do I hate the Titans. Dude, that's the battle between having a college team and an NFL team. So I get it, man. Treylon Burks is a good player now. He's a good player. That's a guy that's not being talked about enough as far as, I'll just go ahead and show you. We have a Treylon Burks play coming up here next. C Breacher says you have to join on computer. You can't join on mobile. Okay, well, thank you, C Breacher. Yeah, Rico, I appreciate it. Cody Jackson says Duval. I love it. C Breacher says Diet Coke is disgusting. I got that one already. DJM says Diet Pepsi is better than Diet Coke. I don't know if I can get with you there. I don't think so. All right, so here's what I was if they're going to have a passing attack, it's going to be this, right? So this kind of gives us the sideline angle. Here you're going to see what they like to line up in a lot. It's this heavy formation. They're in a 2 tight end set, 21 personnel. They probably have some sort of term for 2 tight ends being on the strong side, whatever they may call it. But they'll have something to tell you that there's 2 tight ends on the strong side. You're going to see Burks kind of come in motion here, and this is kind of big, right? And we'll talk about that here in a second. All right, so all things are pointing this to being a Derrick Henry run. You have 2 tight ends, you're an ace, you're under center, and you have Derrick Henry back here just looking ready to get the ball. So the Texans adjust, right? Look how many guys they have in this umbrella I mean, I would say that they have 8 guys in the box, but this is like tighter than just your traditional box. This is 8 guys like stuffing the line of scrimmage. Okay. And you essentially have you're in man coverage here, and 1 high free safety. So this is as classic cover 1 as we can get, right? We call it cover 1 because we have 1 high safety in the middle of the field, and he's the only one that's playing zone. So there's 1 man in zone. They're manned up. They're probably manned up, but they're expecting the run. Okay? Cover 1, true cover 1. The Jags will probably run this against this formation. Okay? So this is why it's important to look at. Okay. Not what we wanted. Okay, so remember when I said it was important that Treylon Burks came in motion pre-snap here? All right, so take a look at this play, what they do here. Actually, a pretty good play. All these NFL coaches know what they're doing. Okay, so they're going to run play action and just dust the Texans underneath for an underneath drag. So what this play action is going to do is you're going to keep all the linebackers at the line of scrimmage. You have one guy running a wheel. He's going to run a drag, and I think he's just running a clear-out route. I can't quite remember what it is. So you essentially have this concept right here. And so look at what Burks is doing here. He's going to do this drag across the field. So that's really hard for him to chase. Really hard, especially in play action. If you do this play action, this allows this is Willis. It's going to give him a lot of time to drop back untouched and allow the receiver to cross. So take a look at it again now. Play action. All the linebackers are frozen. Cross the field, chasing them down. Treylon Burks, good play. So this is what's going to hurt the Jags. And this is the unfortunate thing, is if executed perfectly, there's not much the Jags can do in this situation. The only thing you can do, and again, I'm thinking from a defensive coordinator, okay? The guy who you had assigned man coverage to Derrick Henry. Again, I told you they're man all the way through. The only way that you can win this is if you send him on a blitz and it allows you to blitz everywhere, and then that could potentially give you a sack on the quarterback when he does the play action, right? But again, I say this almost every film episode show. Football a lot of times comes down to rock, paper, scissors between coordinators, and what I mean by that is what play did the offensive coordinator call versus what play did the defensive coordinator call, and at what time did they call it? So they decided to drop this man because he's in man coverage, and that's going to give Willis the amount of time to hit Burks on the crossing route. Good play. Hard to defend. Okay? But again, you can only do that if you're running the ball successfully. Okay? That's another, because if they can't run the ball against a 7-man front, then we can just play zone, and it's not an issue. All right, so that's all good and dandy. But if you watch the shows, I've been saying this for, weeks now when we've been anticipating this game. The tackles for the Titans are not very good, okay? The Texans, I would much rather have the Texans tackles. You're looking at guys on the Texans, Laramie Tunsil on the left, Titus Howard, first-round pick on the right, A.J. Cann playing out of his mind at right guard this year for the Texans. Look at who you have here. And I know there's a lot of injuries, but this is actually going to be who the Titans trot out this Saturday. So you have Daly at left tackle, and you have Nick Pettit-Frere on the right. And if those of you that have been watching this channel for a long time, I actually kind of wanted Pettit-Frere. I wanted the Jags to find a way to draft him because I think he's very similar to Juwan Taylor. Going to be a good player. But this is the downside to the Titans. This is the exact same play that we just saw. The exact same play. You notice here the 2 tight end set. They're in ace formation. The Texans are in that umbrella close to the line of scrimmage. The exact same play. I want you to focus on Nick Pettit-Frere here, the right tackle. Just watch him. Holding. You see the flag come in right here. So here's the problem. This is great execution, great play call by the Titans, but the tackles are not good enough to block the edge rushers, and you have to hold. And this great play is now turned back by 10 yards. Now you're in 1st and 20, which we all know is a death sentence. They end up punting on this drive. Not good there. Actually, I don't know if they punted or not. I take that back. I can't remember. But Josh Allen and Travon Walker and Arden Key and Clavon Chazon, like they should be able to eat against this tackle group, offensive line group for the Titans. 100 miles per hour says, I'm scared of them doing what they did in the Packers game where they had Henry in the Wildcat. He threw a touchdown pass because the D was so sold on the run. Yeah, that's different, though. The offensive line was healthier then. The receiving group was healthier then. Henry was healthier then. You weren't playing a quarterback you're not scared of, right? Like, I don't think the Jags defense are typically particularly scared of Josh Dobbs dropping back there. If anything, I think they will probably play a little more tight coverage, aggressive blitzes because they're going to make him throw. And Dobbs is a smart guy, so he'll be okay in some respects. Shay says, NFL just released an outline for the possible neutral site AFC Championship. Discuss seeding tomorrow. Don't want the Jags to not have a home playoff game if they go by win percentage. Yeah, I know. So that's what I was talking about. They're saying some things which would not help the Jags for hosting a playoff game. It makes sense. I mean, if you're going to screw somebody, don't screw the Bengals or the Bills or the Chiefs. Screw the Jags. And that makes sense for the NFL because they kind of screwed the Jags by putting them on Saturday night. Not for me, but for a lot of people in the team as far as rest. Chef Florida Boy says, hope before the game somebody tells Josh Allen water sucks, Gatorade is better, and he uses that as his tackling fuel. Is that a Water Boy reference there? I like it, Chef. Cody Jackson, Henry is worn and their defense is beat up. Sucks for them. I love it, Cody. Shay says Burks also hurt his groin in practice yesterday, I believe, and wasn't at the media portion of practice today. Oh, I did see he wasn't at media, but okay. I mean, I'm sure he will be playing, but he could be less than 100%. Listen, as someone who strained their groin recently playing basketball, that's a tough injury. That it's like the hamstring, but a smaller muscle and more tender. I would argue that it strains and much easier than the hamstring, and it's lingering. Like it's hard. You have to really rest to get rid of it. So those are tough injuries. DJM says Shaq Quarterman going to give another life lesson against the Titans. Okay, DJM, you know I'm always looking for life lessons. Always. I fear that people will just stop watching if I give too many. So that's why I kind of back off a little bit. But if there's a life lesson to be had and it's important, we will talk about it. And we'll go off on a tangent about it. And if you have a life lesson in the comments, put it out there. Come on. Now, listen, we're all trying to help each other. We're all Jags fans. Splinter Cell Alien says Trevor will be the king of the South. I believe it. He's the best quarterback in the AFC South by a mile. JR, will there be any underwhelming moments for the playoffs? Underwhelming moments? I don't know. That's a weird question that I haven't really thought through, I guess. I hope not. Maybe the concessions are expensive in the stadium. People will see that the food and drink product at the stadium is probably bottom tier. There might be traffic on the way out. Mindset says, great breakdown, bro. Oh, thank you, Mindset. Says linebackers have to stay disciplined. 100%. Nick Ludwig says, I believe the AFC issue for the playoffs will be resolved with neutral sites for Cincinnati, KC, and Buffalo if they play each other. That seems fair. Let's just flip a coin. Just flip a coin between the two. I mean, whatever. One team's happy, one team's sad. The rest of the league's happy. Nick Ludwig, will we still host one playoff game? We'll see, Nick. We'll see. There's a lot of what ifs. That's why I didn't want to spend too much time on it. Seabreacher says, I wouldn't be surprised if we see Lloyd, Muma, and Foye play at the same time this game. Yeah, that means you would be taking out a safety, so either Jenkins or Cisco, or you'd be taking out a interior D lineman like Fatu Kasi or Robertson Harris. Those are your only options. Or you take out a corner. You could take out Darius Williams, I guess, and then if they line up someone wide, you have to put Cisco or Jenkins out there. Let's go, Jags. I can't wait, says channel member Base Mover. All right, so let's take a look at what the Titans may do on defense and what we have to execute on offense, besides everything, right? Besides everything. But here's what is important to look at. See, when we played the Texans, they played a cover 2, and we knew we were going to be able to run the ball against the Texans. Like, we knew that was going to be how we were going to be able to do it, right? So here we're going to see the Titans this is pretty typical of the Titans, and I like this play because this is a formation that we see out of Doug Peterson and the Jags a lot. So 2 tight end sets here on the edge. Nub, you could call it, some people call it tray. Some coaches call it tray if there's 2 tight ends tight and there's no receiver out here. And why that's important is because now your corner is playing this force player, basically man covering. He's probably has man coverage on the first guy out. So whoever the first guy out is who's man covering. 1 high, again, this is that cover 1, man here, and then you have your nickel or safety. I don't know who this is. I don't know the Titans line up that well. Out here on this twins set here, right? So 2 tight ends, 1 running back. So we would call this formation, we would call this 12 twins, and depending on who you are, offense or defense, we're offense, so we'll call it twins, 12 twins right. And you might as well call this tray if you want, 12 tray, twins right. Okay, so this, if you call this 12 tray, twins right, this tells you that there's 2 tight ends as a nub, 1 offset here, and you have twins out to the right. All right, cover 1. And what is our favorite route here besides the smash concept? We love the post wheel. The post wheel is our favorite. What it takes the quarterback making a great throw, play action, post wheel release, great throw. And that's an easy throw for Trevor. I mean, this is not great. I mean, again, this is easy. Like, this is a play that you call where you say, all right, we know they're going to be in man. We're going to call a post wheel. It's impossible to cover. I mean, and you have a, I don't know if it's a nickel or a safety on that play. Usually you get a linebacker matchup there. So a good cover guy and doesn't even do the assignment, doesn't even do his job right. Like, look right here when he flips his hips. He flips his hips. Like, what are you doing? Like, you have nobody. The DB's coach and the D coordinator is probably just verbally abused this man in the film room because there is no need to flip your hips there, right? There's no need. And again, I don't want to get too in depth and on a tangent here, but it's actually very easy to do because if you're a corner over here, you should be pattern matching, right? Meaning you're either in man, meaning you have this guy no matter what, so you should never flip out the way he did, or you're pattern matching, and you just basically look at who's the first guy in, and then I have the other guy, right? So he's coming in here. It had to have been man. Yeah, it had to have been man because they did. So just not good. Not good. And Trevor can make that throw. Trevor can absolutely make that throw there. Here, another way the Jags will be able to, we kind of talked about how the tackles weren't great. We looked at the right tackle, Pettit Frere, but here we're going to see Daly, our boy Daly over here on the left, just completely lose his guy, right? I don't know if he thought Akwankru was going to help him blocking, but just a simple speed rush. And if we know one thing, we know Josh Allen and Trevon Walker know how to speed rush, right? That's their bread and butters. And, just bad. And again, this is just bad all the way around. Like, he can't do his kick step. The tight end didn't get the cadence, I guess, and doesn't even release when the ball snapped. So Daly's here confused. This is the type of thing that keeps happening with the Titans, and this is the type of thing that's going to kill them. I mean, no shot. No shot there. So expect some sloppy play, and expect the Jags to capitalize it, whether it's turnovers or penalties. One thing I will say, and I heard someone on the radio say it, and I was like, oh, man, I've been preaching that for a couple weeks, so I'm glad that I guess someone on the radio said it. But look for some, trick plays, some, stuff you don't expect. Remember, if you think back to the last time the Jags and the Titans played, do you know what play the Titans offense ran on the very first play of the game? A flea flicker, an unsuccessful flea flicker. So the Titans are not scared to come out and run something on the very first play. So a fake field goal, an onside kick, a fake punt, some trickery. You're going to see Wildcat with Derrick Henry. So you know that's going to happen. Let's get to some of these comments here. if you're listening to the podcast or you're rewatching the video, make sure that you get into the live chat so that we can get your comments in here and we can hear from Jags fans. That's what this channel is all about. That's why it was started, and that's why we keep doing it. Is because Jags fans getting their voice heard out there and letting the fans talk. Nick Ludwig says, predict Trevor's stat line. You guys know I hate doing this, but I'll do it for you. 29 for 35, 312 yards, 3 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. RedJet206 says, based off of the film, is Todd Downing really as bad as Titans fans indicate? No. Listen, I'm not going to go on my coaching tangent about how every coach basically runs the same thing, and it's about Jimmys and Joes, not X's and O's. Now, are there bad coaches, head coaches, and are there bad game managers? Yes, we saw that with Urban Meyer. Are there offensive coordinators that don't call plays to their personnel? Maybe. But every coach runs the same thing. I mean, a guy like Doug Peterson is creative with how he does things, but a guy like Todd Downing is your run-of-the-mill play caller. Not special, not terrible. The bottom line is the Titans have been incredibly injured this season. Incredibly injured. I mean, they have been bit by the injury bug since week 1. I mean, they even got back. I mean, Danico Autry's playing, so that's kind of a big deal. He played in week 16, but he sat against the Cowboys. Kind of got the Derrick Henry treatment. So Autry will probably play, but they're missing almost all of their offensive line. Treylon Burks is hurt. We talked about that. They're missing, Kevin Byard is good. We can't underestimate him. But besides that, I mean, Christian Fulton's hurt. They're just injured all the way around. So Bud Dupree, I don't think is playing. Yeah, I mean, it's hard for me to evaluate coaches for teams that have been really injured. And I'll say that in any league, in any sport, on any team. Sea Breacher says, take out a cornerback. We did it versus the Ravens. Yeah. I don't think the Jags will have to get that out of their element. I don't think they'll have to do stuff that crazy. I think they can just go out there and run their stuff. They could probably put 7 in the box and win this game. Honestly. I think the Jaguars are just so much better than the Titans in every aspect of the game. Titans have lost 6 in a row. Jags won 5, 4, 5, I don't know. And so you got to just do what you've been doing. Execute your game plan. That's all you have to do. Execute your game plan. If you don't execute your game plan, you're going to lose regardless of what you do. If you don't execute, it doesn't matter if you run your standard cover 1, cover 3 hybrid, or if you go out there and take out a corner and put in an extra linebacker or safety. If you don't execute, you don't execute. On offense, if you can't stop Derrick Henry, you can't stop Derrick Henry. And it's hard to win games nowadays with just a running back, just because of how many chances the other team's offenses will get and how quickly you can move the ball passing. 400 yards, 3 touchdowns, says Base Mover. I like it. Michael Ward says, I'm predicting Lloyd to have a stellar game. I hope so. He's due. Ron Beedry, hello, all my Jaguar buddies. The Jags are going to finally rid themselves of the Titans' curse, ushering in many years of success in Super Bowls. Ron, did you type in on Chat GPT comment for Jaguars YouTube? Because that's what that comment just sounded like. But I think you're right. DJM, I hope Josh Allen has his best game in the regular season Saturday night. Me too, man. What was 85 doing on that play? He obviously didn't get the snap count and the cadence because he did not move when the ball was snapped. JR Fly says, T-Law gonna carve up those Titans just like the last time. Jags will take this one 30-20. Let's win this one for Uche. Hashtag Jags Nation Rise Up. It would be nice to win this for Uche. I heard that the Bold City Brigade is doing some sort of tribute at their tailgate, which I think is awesome. Always in support of giving people the respect they deserve, especially posthumously. And so I think that when it comes down to this game, your prediction of 30-20, that could be – I've been bouncing around scores in my head, and for the Titans to score 20 points, they're going to have to really pull off some big plays against this defense. And the defense hasn't really been letting up that many big plays. So 20 points is a lot, I think, for the Titans. King David says, every time Henry is back 10 yards like a run, I'm blitzing A or B gaps and spying with a Mike linebacker. Could be wrong, but it's worth going all out and forcing them to throw. So what can happen on blitzes against runs is if it's like a draw or a delay or Henry's just patient, then there's a chance that your blitzing backers get too far upfield and the gap actually opens up with no help behind you. So some teams will just kind of muddle their linebackers into the gap and try not to engage and just try to find the gap. That's probably the safer thing to do against Henry. But I get what you're saying. When you say blitz, you mean like get the gap filled immediately at the snap. And you're right. Agnew is due for a kick return, says Rico. Base Mover says, Duval. It's always good to get one of those in, Base Mover. AKYT said, did Jeffrey Simmons play against us week 14? If so, was he impactful? How impactful will he be this week? I don't think Jeffrey Simmons has played a lot. I can actually have the grades here from last week on defense. Let me see. He didn't play. So this is going to be his first game in a while, I believe. Let me just check the defense from the Texans game. So he played against the Texans, right? And again, I know PFF's not everything. I didn't especially look for him in the Texans film when I was watching it, but I mean, he's down here at the bottom. 61 snaps, so he played a lot. 55 overall grade, 28 tackling grade. Not a great stat line. Looks like he did have a sack though, yeah. So he had a sack, but still to have a sack and still have this bad of this stat line means that he was pretty abysmal against the run or on all the other plays. So this dude right here is just. I think he got hurt because I think he got hurt in the Texans game or something like that because he's a guy you can pick on, McCreary. Bud Dupree with a low score. Again, these guys just aren't playing well. Like these guys that are typically good. Jeffrey Simmons, Bud Dupree, Kevin Byard. You know, these guys are typically like your top guys, like scoring, PFF grades, everything, stats, and they're just not performing. So, I don't know. Good question, though. That's something we should look at. Definitely. We should drop 77 points for number 77. That would be, if we score 77 points, I may not have a voice for a couple days from cheering. Chris Mason says, Jaguars better not do cover 3 when the 2 tight end package comes out. I don't know what they're going to do. I can't get into the mind of Mike Caldwell. I've tried. I from any given week, I don't know what that man's thinking. It's not bad. It's just unpredictable. Jag Gator says, I heard you're going streaking before halftime. I'm not the streaker type, although I am comfortable in my own skin. I don't want to be arrested. I want to watch the second half. But Jag Gator, if you do it, maybe I'll do it. We can talk about that. Chris Mason says, I don't know who to dress up at. I don't know who to dress up as at the game. Okay. Like which jersey? I go back and forth. I typically am a polo. I like to wear a Jags polo. I like to look professional, just because all my jerseys are like guys that aren't on the team anymore, like Ramsey and Bortles and guys like that. So, I don't think I have a teal jersey. I have a Greg Jones teal jersey. About it. I don't have any teal jerseys. 100 miles per hour says, did you watch the Cowboys-Titans game? Looked like Josh Dobbs tried to play a bunch of hero ball, and the Cowboys dropped a few INTs. Yeah, he didn't look good. I didn't spend too much time on that film just because, I knew that they weren't playing anybody. They were resting a lot of their people they thought would be impactful in the Jags game, and I thought they probably would be pretty vanilla in the play calling for that same reason. So, yeah, we'll see. I mean, they're going to bring it now. Their season's on the line, too. So, all of this energy and angst that we have, Titans have it too, man. Darth Vader Chris Mason's actually dressing up. Darth Vader's always a hit. Mine said, if we go to the Super Bowl, let me get that Jones-Drew jersey. Oh, mine said I actually am changing all these jerseys out here in a couple of days. So, but I don't know if I can give it away. Jones-Drew is probably my favorite NFL player of all time. 100 miles per hour says Mike Caldwell is insane. He gives me anxiety every game. I know. I don't know what it's like, again, I try to follow the trends here, right? And if you watch the channel all year, we've talked about this. Beginning of the season, they ran like a lot of like exotic blitzes, pre-snap formations that were like interesting, like double A gap linebackers all the time. Interior defensive linemen lined up outside at the 5 technique, so basically out there by the tackles, and then the outside linebackers out there further out with linebackers in the middle. Like, he did some weird stuff the first like third of the season. Then during that slump, he went real vanilla. He went just like cover 3, cover 2, zone, no blitzes. Teams were torching us. And then on the back third of the season, he went back to what he did at the beginning. So I don't know what he's doing, but I'm excited. And it's been working lately. So I'll take it. Chris Mason says, I got a Yeldon jersey. James Houston leads all rookies. Yeldon. Oh, Yeldon. Oh, the Yeldon. Okay. Oh, yeah. Yeldon was great. DJM says, you said last year you'd change the wall for 2023. Will you change it before the playoffs? Yes. Yeah, I told you. I have my issue is I have one jersey I got to get into a frame. So all my jerseys are going to be signed, framed jerseys. So I got one jersey I got to get into a frame. So once I do that, and hopefully it'll be the next couple of days. 100 miles per hour. Is Darius Williams playing as good as the stats say? Or is he getting lucky? I can't tell, to be honest. So what immediately comes to mind is a couple of plays against the Texans where his guy was open and they just dropped the ball. I can't remember who it was in the Texans game. Had a huge drop wide open. That's definitely helping him. But that happens in every game and for every player. So we can't just say like it's happening just to Darius Williams because there's drops in every game. I think he's picked up his level of play. And I think the level of play has just been picked up across the board for the defense. The defensive line's been playing better, so everyone on the defensive line is going to look better. The linebackers have been playing better, so all the linebackers are going to look better. The secondary's been playing better, so they're all going to look better too. So it's you think back to 2017 when we saw these guys individually leave the team and they weren't as successful, because when you're in a unit that's playing together as a defense, you play better in a unit that's playing together. So I think that's what we're seeing. A lot of these guys are just playing at another level right now because of everything else that's going on. And the offense is scoring. It's a lot easier to play defense when the offense is scoring. I'm telling you that. When you know they have to pass the ball, it's much easier to cover. When you know what they're doing, it's easier to do your job when you're not having to guess what the opponent is doing. Time for a Trevor camo jersey. Yeah, I don't know about that. As much as I love camo, don't know about that. Jags is from JR Fly. Jags D has given up 6 points in the past 2 games. Playing better, and also we are now getting healthier on the D-line. The 20 points I said they would give up in the last is 13 in real time and 7 in garbage time. Okay. All right, I like that. Hey, that's probably, I mean, again, that's why when you said that score and I thought about it for a minute, I was with you. I was like, all right, that makes sense. Sin Gino says, what are realistic expectations for Calvin Ridley? I expect him to be our number 1, 100%. We're paying him $11 million for 1 year. That's a lot of money. I mean, that's number 1 money right there. Even though it's only 1 year, that's good money. And he's a good player. I'm not saying that he has to live up to it. I'm saying he will live up to that because he's a good player. I mean, all the film I've watched of him 2 years ago, granted, he is an outstanding receiver. Great hands, elite route running. It's a great feel for the game. His release off of the line of scrimmage, off the ball, is elite. I mean, he's got a lot of things that he would be like if I were like categorizing things that I evaluate receivers on. Some things I mentioned: route running, catching, release, change of direction, acceleration. He's elite in a couple of those categories, and that's always good. So if you want like stats, 1,000 yards with Trevor. Brett says, sorry I'm late, Jags United. Brett, it's all right, bro. You told me you had to work tonight. So listen, we're going to make that money. Kevin Lumpkins says, Duval till we die. It was always the Jags. Yes, it was, Kevin. I love how someone on Twitter said Dewey Wingard went from the most hated Jaguar to the most loved, which we never hated. We don't hate anybody around here. That's one of the beauties of this channel. You know, you're entitled to your own opinion, as long as you're not a Titans fan. And, we love you regardless. And if you're a player, I'm telling you right now, there's no bad players in the NFL. So all these people that said Dewey Wingard was trash or he was bad, there's no bad players in the NFL. Okay, I'm telling you, there's thousands and thousands of thousands of football players vying for the same 53 jobs across 32 teams. So if you make it to the NFL, you are an exceptional athlete. So that's why when you hear me talking about evaluating players, I never get too hard on them, unless they just do boneheaded stuff. Like we got pretty hard on Rayshon Jenkins last year for those after the whistle unnecessary roughness penalties. There's no excusing that. Things like that. Calvin Ridley is always open somehow, says 100 miles per hour. And he goes on to say, no one should ever be as open as Calvin Ridley on an NFL. I'm telling you, he is always open, and he has a great feel for the game. It's hard to explain. Once I put out my breakdown video in the offseason, you'll see what I'm talking about. Scary AF offense with them, says Sinjino. DJM says, is our defense scoring Saturday? I think they are. DJM, I think they are. Probably a pick 6 from Andre Sisco. No, you know what? It's going to be someone random. It's going to be like Trey Herndon. He's going to pick 6. Or like Chris Claybrooks is going to score somehow. It's going to be someone random. I'm telling you right now. Just picked up an authentic stitched Mike Peterson 54 jersey, says Ron Bezoid. That's a sick jersey right there. Authentic stitched jerseys are always sexy, and Mike Peterson's one of my favorite Jaguars of all time. Brett Zimmerman says, I'll work till 7 tomorrow night if you want to do a better episode than last time. There's nothing wrong with the episode we did last time, Brett. It just wasn't recorded the right way. Happens. Listen, I did an interview with, if you guys know, when I was doing podcasts, I had another Jags podcast. I had on, he now writes for the Gators, but he used to write for the Jaguars. Zach Goodall did a whole hour-long show with them and messed up the recording. Same exact thing. And so it happens. It happens. Jag Gator, who in the South do you think will be the biggest threat to the Jags next season, considering the Colts and Texans will get a good rookie quarterback? So the last mock I saw was some combination of Will Levis, CJ Stroud, and Bryce Young going to those two teams. The biggest threat would probably be, I don't know. It depends on what happens with the coaching situations. Do they keep Lovie Smith in Houston? Probably not. Who do they bring in there? Right? The Colts typically build pretty well. Titans I'm not really worried about, so probably the Colts. But the Texans have a good defense, and that's what always concerns me is teams with good defenses. So and Dameon Pierce will be in his second year. So if the Texans turn into a team that can run the ball, play defense, and they get a quarterback they can develop, that could be a team that is trending upwards. But as you should be when you have bad seasons a couple years in a row. So, and it's coming from a Jaguars fan. I'm not coming from a place of hate. Actually, it's hard for me to hate the Texans. I hate the Titans, and I hate the Colts. It's hard for me to hate the Texans. I don't know why. Kevin says, that's not possible. Dewey, a turnover machine. He is. See, Dewey just doesn't get a lot of snaps. I mean, even games that you think Dewey plays a lot, we look back at the PFF, and he played 15 defensive snaps, and you're like, huh, seemed like he was on the field more than that. He's so involved in special teams plays that you think he's out there a lot, and you'll see him every once in a while, so you think he plays a lot, but in reality, he plays usually less than 20 snaps on defense, and that's a lot. That would be a lot. Colton Harp says, I think Kirk will have his best game of the season on Saturday. I think Kirk and Zay Jones and Evan Ingram will all have good days. I think you might even see a situation where ETN's numbers don't really pop out because of the passing game. I think the passing game will thrive. So I'm with you there, Colton. Brett says, I felt that my subs needed a better video than the one we did. Listen, you just got to keep doing it, Brett. It's the only way to get better. Redjet206 says, how do you think we stretch the field next year? Does Ridley do that well? I'd love to have that speedster that can take advantage of Trevor's deep ball for once. With Zay Jones, Calvin Ridley, and Christian Kirk on the field all at one time, at any given time, any of those three could be a deep ball threat. Timmy Devil 999 says, missed the show. Timmy, it's okay. Honestly, Timmy, if I can be honest with you, I did miss your comments. Timmy, here's what I like about Timmy. Timmy brings me back down to earth sometimes, right? I'm a Jags fan, been my whole life. And I'll admit it, I'm an optimist, okay? I'm positive, right? I'm like that. I'm like that in everything. It's not just the Jags. I'm just that kind of that type of person. And sometimes it's really good, and then sometimes I've been accused of not being grounded in reality, which is fine and fair. Timmy grounds me in reality a lot of times. So, Timmy, I do appreciate that because you bring your reality and how you feel to the comments. So, we missed you as much as you missed us. Base Mover, channel member, says, I'm calling it Jags new uniforms next season. The Jags do like to roll out new uniforms after successful seasons, tactically, obviously. So, good point, Base. 100 miles per hour said, just glad we don't have to play prime Deshaun Watson anymore. Okay. Little Big Man says, fire, Doug Peterson and Trevor Lawrence are about to get a couple Lombardis in Jacksonville. I think you're right, Little Big Man. I think you are right, and I'm with you there. And I love the trophies. I'm going to say more than a couple. Let's go Patriots on them. Let's win 5. Jag Gator, yes, can we start a new Jags uniform movement? I believe Khan will listen. I mean, with the announcement of the stadium being renovated, I think the uniforms are probably just around the corner. Chef Florida Boy says, I'll hate the Texans for the both of us. Okay, Chef. All right. Oh, okay. Chef, you need to I've been taking up cooking recently, so you need to hit me up on Twitter. I know you're on Twitter. And send me a picture of something you've been cooking up because I might have some questions for you because I'm still learning. And Boston's, glad you're here, Austin, says, really nervous for this one. Going to be playing a team that plays with a ton of effort, runs the ball, and plays good defense. And think Dobbs can be a game manager a lot older than Trevor. Those are all fair evaluations, Austin. And pre-kickoff, I'm going to be feeling all that anxiety with you. But I think once the game starts, we'll be okay. And again, this is what I kind of said at the beginning of the show. Derrick Henry went for 126 yards, a touchdown, and 5.5 yards per carry, not to mention the receiving yards he had against the Texans. And the team only scored 14 points. So Derrick Henry can get his, and they still won't put up a lot of points on you. If you think back to those teams that were successful in the playoffs last couple of years running the ball, they had other things they could do, right? Like, yeah, Dobbs is a game manager, but you either have to have a quarterback and a receiver that can go off along with your bell cow, or you have to have another running back that can come in and spell out the running back and also get yards. And I don't think the Titans have either one of those. So not as worried right now, but I'm with you on all your concerns. Pre-kickoff, I'm going to be just as anxious as everybody else. I'm way behind on the comments here, guys. Sorry if it's a good one. Just type it again. Ridley is 28 years old, very young. Joseph Drawbond says, do you know how much salary dead money the Jags are carrying on players not on the team? Good question. I could look it up. I don't know off the top of my head. Who's the big one? It's I think we're still paying. There's a big one on there. Golly, I can't remember who it is. Sorry. It'll come to me later. 904 Duval. Only thing that makes me nervous is that this time the Jags are not underdogs, and only other games was Houston and Trevor Lawrence didn't have the greatest game. I hope that that doesn't affect Trevor's play. I would probably guess it was more about the Tampa 2 defense that Houston runs isn't really conductive to a passing game that eats up a lot of yards. But maybe you're right. DJM, has there ever been an NFL team going from number 1 overall pick to winning the Super Bowl? No. And I think even making the playoffs is pretty rare, to be honest with you. Brett says, optimism is something the Jags fans need in the worst way. We have been in the cellar for long enough, and it's time we take our rightful place on top of the AFC South. Let's go. That's the kind of stuff that gets me popping. Little Big Man says, drop the teal. Bring the original uniforms back with a touch of new, says Mindset. I think that's what they're going to do, if I had to guess. Chef says he's got me. Yes, sir, Chef. I'm learning, bro. Listen, I'm learning. Trying some new stuff out. I just started using bone broth. Where have I been all these years? Bone broth's all great. It's great. You can add protein and stuff you're already cooking. That's how elementary I am about this whole cooking stuff. Timmy says, keep the teal. We are not going to go back to that retro crap. Dobbs turns into a quarterback god Saturday. I hope not, Timmy. KJ says, my biggest concern is Jeffrey Simmons and Autry getting this O-line. Plus, Simmons says that Trevor doesn't slide when out of the pocket and is fumble prone. All right, well, listen. Jeffrey Simmons, we looked at your PFF grade of 55.2 against the Texans, all right? You bring that weak junk here, and we will eat you up. Walker Little will eat you up. Let's go. Dead, this is from Gabriel, says dead cap space for players no longer on the team, $34.8 million. Oof. Well, next year we'll probably lose a lot of that. We'll have players that we cut that we still pay a little bit, but there's guys that you save money by cutting, but you still have to pay them a little bit. You know what I mean? Austin says, great takes. The start of Trevor's dynasty. Oh, thanks, Austin. Junior Fly says, Vrabel literally told his team and fans that the Titans were not better or could beat the Jags as is. So Dobbs comes into the picture. They are just buying time. Jags will handle them at home. It's going to be very hard for the Titans to hear because the stadium is going to be very loud. Very loud. Colton Harp says, do we cut Shaq Griffin? Yes. The rest of your question says draft a nickel. Well, probably yes. The answer to that is yes, Colton. DJM says, are we still paying Jalen or Yannick? I don't think so. I think the only guys on the cap are like golly, it's gonna kill me if I don't think of it. Hopefully Trevor doesn't soil himself and have 4 turnovers. Nah. Trevor, I don't think he's ever done that. When are we playing Kendrick Pryor? Says Base Mover. I was talking to a student earlier today because I work with students from time to time. And they asked me, because they know I'm a Jags fan, they don't know much about football. And they asked me, like, who's the worst player on the Jags? And you know me, I gave them the whole lecture of there's no bad players in the NFL. They're all really good. It's hard to call you can't call any of them bad. I'm like, okay, well, who's the worst? And I was like, probably Kendrick Pryor. I mean, it's not fair. Like, I don't know. Like, how do you even answer that question? But it's just funny that Base Mover brought up Kendrick Pryor today, and also I did. A guy we haven't mentioned probably in months. We do shows at least twice a week. Timmy says, crazy how San Fran and Philly are ahead in coach of the year. Their teams were winning games last year. We were trash last year, so Dougie P should be coach of the year. Here's what's hurting Dougie P. What's hurting Doug is that, Pointy07 is subscribed. Thank you, Pointy. Appreciate it. What's hurting Doug is the fact that the team is only 8-8. It's hard to win coach of the year when your team's 8-8. It's the bottom line. When you improve by 6 games, I mean, that's an improvement, but it's not like rags to riches. Now, they're not looking at the nuance of the win streaks versus the lose streaks and the momentum. But the reason why Doug is not in consideration is because those other coaches that you mentioned have really, really good records, and they've won a lot of games. And honestly, if I'm voting, I'm probably voting for Sirianni, to be honest with you. And Doug's a close second. But what Sirianni has done in Philadelphia, I mean, I know they were good last year, but they weren't this good. And he's a first-year coach. 100 miles per hour says, is he a first-year coach or second year? I don't know, first or second. Is Walker Little starting caliber to the point we can let JT walk? Yes, to answer your question. Now, if we could get Walker back under $11 million and we were okay with drafting or signing a cheaper tight end, then you bring Taylor back, because I love having Walker Little as that swing tackle for depth, because you need depth in the NFL at offensive line. But Taylor, good for him, has played outstanding this year and is going to go on the open market and be set for life. Good for him. Trevor and Etienne are used to playing on Saturdays. Ew. Yeah, listen, I could be wrong. We could just run the ball and all over them with Hasty and Etienne and not even need to throw and just like control the clock and score a lot with the running game. We could. Play action, drags across the field, play actions, deep shots, score on a couple passes. Trevor could end up with like 20 for 24, 275 yards, 2 touchdowns, and then just the running game just takes care of the rest. We're probably paying Nick Foles from that mega deal. All right, guys, you're going to make me look this up. All right, I'll try to look this up and read comments at the same time. Little is better at left tackle, says Little Big Man. Probably. Hey, guys, just wanted to say my birthday is on Gate Base. Let's go. We'll have to sing you happy birthday on our victory show when we have it after. All right, so, oof, boys, you are not going to be happy about this. Joe Schobert getting paid $9 million this year. Oh, my God. I did not expect to see Joe Schobert's name at the top of this list. So Joe Schobert and C.J. Henderson. C.J. Henderson getting $6 million. I thought, okay, so I was on the right track. I was thinking C.J. Henderson and Miles Jack, but I wasn't 100% sure. Actually, I wasn't even like 75% sure. But these were the first 2 names that came to my mind, was Henderson and Jack. I wasn't sure what we did with the trade with Henderson as far as cap room. But, yeah, I mean, $11 million between C.J. Henderson and Miles Jack that we're still paying him. So they're still getting checks. Can you imagine that? Getting checks in your mail from the Jacksonville Jaguars and your C.J. Henderson and Miles Jack. And then imagine being Joe Schobert and not only getting a check from the Jacksonville Jaguars, but 4.25% of our entire cap is going to Joe Schobert. Let that sink in for a moment. Malcolm Brown on the list at 4.6. That's a lot of money. Will Richardson, God bless, rest his soul, even though he's alive, $1 million. Lambeau still getting paid $875,000. Didn't see that coming. Laviska Shenault getting $789,000. Gillespie, Ty Summers. Wow, good for those guys. I've never even heard of them. Obviously Gillespie, but Carlos Hyde still getting a paycheck from the Jags. Laquan Treadwell still getting a paycheck from the Jags. J-Rob getting a little bit. I know they took on most of that contract. E.J. Perry is still collecting a paycheck from the Jags. Like, man, I know these NFL players risk their body and health, but to be E.J. Perry, and why is Greg Jr. on the dead cap? That's weird. He's still on the team. Tag Taylor, let Allen walk. Ooh, spicy, Timmy. I like it. Base Mover says thank you. Little Big Man says Titans have a good run defense, but can't stop the pass. Yeah, especially like we were talking about when they get those guys back, Simmons and Autry, guys like that. Although I don't think they're playing as well as people think. Or as they used to, I guess would be more accurate. GoPro Connor says, the fact that I am so confident about this game is what's making me nervous. GoPro Connor, that's well said. And that's kind of what I was thinking. So I couldn't formulate that in words, but you did. So thank you. I appreciate that. Richard Leely says, praying the D-line, especially Chazon and Josh Allen, have another good showing on Saturday. Pretty confident Arden's going to show out, though. Yeah, Arden's going to be Arden. Like, Arden Key is who he was when we brought him in. Like, we brought him in to do what he's doing. He's playing above it, honestly. So, you know he's going to get his. Isn't Joe Schobert on the Titans now, too? I thought he was on the Steelers, but he could be on the Titans. Lambeau's field goal celebration is goated. It was all right. I'm ready to be AFC South champs. Me too. Pointy07 says, I was in the stadium to see the Sharks in the early 70s. Saturday night will mean a lot of the OGs. Will mean a lot to the OGs in Duval. Pointy, that is so sick, man. Man, I can only imagine what it would be like to be in Duval back then. Man, that's awesome. I know it's going to mean a lot to you guys for sure. Glad you're going to be there. Timmy Devil says, Jags are still paying a lot of trash. The Joe Schobert thing kind of threw me off there. I'm not going to lie. That threw me off. Brett says, knowing the Jags, we could lay an egg. Oh, no, Brett. We're not even going to read the rest of that comment. DJ M says, Jags really paying Joe Schmo. Yeah. Yeah, I mean the contracts are interesting right now, so we'll see. We'll see. All right, well, I think that's going to end it for tonight's show. We'll end with this comment. J.R. Fly gets it in right in the nick of time. Our run game is better overall than the Titans. Would love to see Peterson feed ETN early. That way Trevor is relaxed more. Gets easy throws early. Go Jags. I think that is going to be the strategy. And it may work. It may work. All right. Thank you guys for being here tonight. Had a fun show tonight. I'm looking forward to Saturday's game. Like I said, I'll be there. If you're there and you want to see me, say what's up. Hit me up on Twitter. I'll tell you where I'm at. I'm probably going to be hanging out in the Sky Patio because I like to be there. So you can look for me there. I'll probably be looking ridiculous and acting ridiculous. So just tap me on the shoulder and say, hey, you're a lot weirder in person than you are on YouTube. And I'll say, yeah, you're right. Thank you for being here. All the channel members that are here. We have so many channel members now. It's hard for me to even list them all off. Base Mover, Sharney, Nolly. We had Shay was in here. Base Mover. Did I get him already? Sea Breacher. Thank you guys for being here. I appreciate it. Thanks for supporting the channel. Cameron Boisvert. Thanks for supporting the channel, guys. Thanks for being here in the comments. Make sure to follow. Make sure to like the video. If you haven't logged off yet, hit the like button real quick. That way it gets up the algorithm. And